Hello, welcome to the Magic with Mary podcast. I'm your host, Mary. Here we teach you how to gain confidence, be your most authentic self, and step into your power. If you feel stuck, you're in the right place because I'm going to help you release what's holding you back. You're so freaking powerful, and all you have to do is unpeel the layers that are keeping you trapped from being who you truly were meant to be. So if you're ready for the magic to begin, let's dig in. Hello, welcome to the Magic with Mary podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in with me today. I am excited for this podcast because we are going to be talking about Tim Ferriss's book, The Tribe of Mentors. Now, I actually have never read this book, but my husband asked me to go through each of the 11 questions from this book, answer them myself, and then go through and read the book. So what this book is basically a questionnaire. Tim Ferriss asks 11 different questions to top performers in their field. So like professors, entrepreneurs, athletes. This included people like Naval Ravikant and Terry Crews and many others. And so I was going to answer these questions and then go ahead and read the book. And I figured, why not make a podcast and share my answers with you guys? In this episode, I'm going to challenge you though. Before I answer the questions, pause the podcast and actually think about it and answer the questions yourself. You can, if you are at a desk or on your couch, you have a journal, go ahead and journal these questions out. If you're driving though, just pause it and think about it. No need to be journaling while we're driving. So we want to be safe. So the first question is, what is the book or books you've given most as a gift and why? Or what are 1 to 3 books that have greatly influenced your life? Okay, for me, one of the books that I have been given and that I in turn started to give people this book after getting this gift is The Richest Man in Babylon. Now, this book has a lot of meaning to me because it helped change my entire outlook on my financial life and really just turn things around for me. I had a lot of debt because I bought lots of clothes and literally purchased them with credit. And then I one day was sitting there going, holy shit, I'm going to have to pay this off now. But the first time I received this book was on my graduation day. I just had received my bachelor's degree, and my brother-in-law gave this book to me, and in each chapter he slid a $10 bill into it. So he was encouraging me to read through it, and at each chapter I could go ahead and take that $10 bill and keep it, right? But with each lesson, I learned more and more about finances. And I actually didn't read this book for about 2 or so years after getting it. And I never removed the money. I didn't take it out because I knew that there was obviously a reason why he wanted me to read this book. And so I gave it some time because I wasn't ready for it. I honestly didn't give a crap and I didn't like reading books. But finally one day I, after realizing, holy shit, I have debt and da-da-da-da-da, I decided to sit down and read this book. And it really changed my life. It showed me how to handle my finances in the most basic and simplest ways possible. And these are things that date back all the way to Babylonian times, right? We can get the most useful information and wisdom from some of these old stories and tales. So if you have yet to read this book, I highly suggest it. And give it to people. After you read it, give it to people, because that book that costs less than $10 is going to give somebody the most amazing piece of wisdom that you could ever give. And it's going to help them not only on a personal development level, but financially. And once we learn how to make our money work for us, we can just let it grow and we get to relax, right? We don't have to hustle and stress as much. And so go read this book. It really is one of the best books I've read, and personally feel that each and every person could definitely use. Okay, moving on to the next question. Let's remember to pause before I'm answering these and then really think about it, okay? So the second question is, what purchase of 100 or less has most positively impacted your life in the last 6 months or recent memory? So for me, this is actually not like a specific product or anything. For me, this is actually a breathwork session that I did with Ashley Lund, and she also does timeline therapy, which is freaking amazing. And the reason why this particular thing is important for me is breathwork has really helped me release so much of that emotion that I've kept stuck and built up inside of me, right? There's so much we keep hidden because we're taught not to express our emotions in society. We're taught that we should not speak rudely. We should not say the things that we want to say all the time. And so we pent up so much emotion, right? Maybe you have a boss that is constantly nagging you, or maybe micromanaging you, or maybe he doesn't give a crap at all, right? And those emotions bottle up. And breath work is something that can help you with any situation and being able to release it in a very healthy way, okay? I am going to do a live on Instagram with Ashley Lund so she can explain a little bit more how this works. And I probably will get her here on the podcast. So if you don't quite understand what breath work is doing on mental, emotional, physical level, and even a spiritual level, then go ahead and do a little bit of research. And if you're not ready to dig into that yet, be patient with me, and I promise I'll get her on the podcast ASAP. Okay, let's go to the next question, which is, how has a failure or apparent failure set you up for later success? Do you have a favorite failure of yours? Okay, reminding you here to pause and think about this question before I dig in. So for me, the one thing that comes to mind is crappy relationships that didn't work out in the past, right? I truly believe that every broken road that I took led me straight to Lawrence. And I am so freaking grateful for all of those relationships that taught me something in my life. Whether it was super painful or not, it led me to Lawrence, and Lawrence led me straight to, my family, the girls. Lawrence had 2 amazing, beautiful daughters that I got to take on as my own and love and cherish. And then we got to later have a son who is just so joyful and cheerful. He's 5 years old right now, gonna go on 6. And I'm so very grateful for Lawrence. And so every failed relationship led me to this outcome in my life, and I'm so very grateful for it. Okay, let's dig into the next question. If you could have a gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, metaphorically speaking, getting a message out to millions or even billions, what would it say? It could be a few words or a paragraph. If helpful, it can be someone else's quote. Are there any quotes you can think of that you live your life by? Okay, so again, pause here, think about this one. For me, the quote would be, and this is mostly from my own personal experience, the quote would be, "The only validation you need is from yourself." I cannot tell you how much in my life I have searched for validation from other people around me. And the one thing that I've learned, and the one thing that truly helps me maintain joy and happiness, is learning how to validate myself. When I validate myself, I don't need anyone else to make me feel good, right? And that makes it so much more wonderful, because then the people in my life don't feel obligated to make me happy. Of course, I can't promise you that my husband doesn't feel obligated to make me feel happy. And I probably created that myself, but I have learned over the last few years that I have to validate myself, and I cannot expect him to be happy to make me happy. I have to learn how to do it myself and stop looking for things outside of me to make me happy. Okay, the next question that is in the book is, what is one of the best or most worthwhile investments you ever made? Can be an investment of money, time, energy. So stop, pause, think about how this affects you and which one is the most important. For me, getting my MBA was extremely valuable. Although at the time I hated it and felt like I was on the wrong path towards where I really truly wanted to be, it led me to have more confidence in myself. I actually found self-love and joy in everyday moments, learning how to manage my time, getting my master's degree while being a mom and working full-time, and all the other things that I was doing outside of that anyways. And so it really taught me how to be more present with myself, okay? And of course, anyone could go into getting their MBA or whatever master's degree or whatever schooling program that you're going to be doing, courses, etc., yada, 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 and not come to that realization. And so if you are currently in a position like that or thinking about it, I want you to understand that it's only going to make you stronger the more you do. And you're always going to be guided to your purpose, right? Through everything that is calling towards you. If an MBA degree is calling towards you, it might not even be the business side of things that you truly desire or is part of your purpose. It could simply be that you are going to learn something in that program that is going to show you or direct you back to where you're supposed to be. Okay. I don't know that any day I will be a CEO of a corporation. That was kind of a dream for a while. But what it did lead me to do is read a couple different books in marketing that taught me a little bit about happiness and how to create value and share that with others. And that in itself really helped me understand my true purpose and the value that I wanted to create in my life and for my family. All right, the next question, number 6, is, what is an unusual habit or absurd thing that you love? So think about this. Honestly, this is a short answer for me. I love nut butter on eggs. Yes, you're probably going, what the freak? I originally heard about this from a book called The Badass Body Diet that I read like 5 years ago. And honestly, I tried it because I was like, well, okay, I'll give it a try. And I was like, this is the best thing I've ever eaten. So if you like nut butters, warm some of it up and like drizzle it all over your eggs with a side of blueberries or something like that. It's freaking good. Okay, digging into the next question. In the last 5 years, what new belief, behavior, or habit has most improved your life? Okay, think about this one. It's a really good question. For me, it's the belief that I'm not just this physical 3D body. I'm also a spiritual being, and that there's infinite possibilities for me, or at least I'm opening my mind up to that idea. It's not like 100% grounded, but it gets more clear every single day. And I do now truly believe that I am more than just a body. And that means so much to me to know that, because now, if that's possible, what else is possible, right? So much more. It opens my mind up to believe in so many more things. And we know one of the first lessons, or one of the main key points in manifestation, is being able to believe in ourselves, okay? So let's go to the next question, which is, what advice would you give to a smart, driven college student about to enter the real world? What advice should they ignore? Okay, I'll let you answer that. For me, this is, don't take the first job available, or at least don't get stuck in it, okay? Find a job that actually creates joy in your life, something you enjoy doing. Don't get stuck feeling like you have to take the first thing you find that has benefits. And that's exactly what I did, and I hated it. And then I kept looking for more jobs after that. And of course I had to have benefits, right? And so then I found another job that had benefits, and it's like, then I'm stuck in this job that I don't even really care about, but hey, it had benefits. So yes, that's great, but is it sustainable for long term, being happy all the time? No. And of course we're not always meant to be happy, but if we want to be able to maintain that, we got to have something that's sustainable, and finding joy in our job and liking what we do is going to make that so much easier. All right, next question. What are bad recommendations you hear your Let me say this again. What are bad recommendations you hear in your profession or area of expertise? Okay, now I know the majority of us listening to this are probably moms. Maybe you graduated with a bachelor's degree. Maybe you went straight to your job. Whatever area in life that you're working towards, maybe you have a specific goal. Let's think about it in terms of that, okay? So for me, I'm thinking of manifestation world. And the bad recommendations I hear is that you have to hustle if you want things to work out. Your subconscious mind is actually always working to make things easier for you. And if you tell it exactly what you want and let it do its thing, you don't have to hustle as much, because it's going to be looking for opportunities without you even recognizing it. And it's going to be prompting you to take action without you even recognizing it. It's going to make it 10 times easier for you. So stop hustling, get some rest, and let your mind, let the universe help you, okay? All right, the next question. Question number 10. In the last 5 years, what have you become better at saying no to? So this might be things like distractions, invitations, etc. And what new realizations and or approaches help? Any other tips? So really think about this one, because this is a really good question. A lot of us have a hard time with boundaries, and I know that the majority of you in my space, if you've been here for a while, if you're one of my clients, or maybe you're one of my groupies, my home dogs, people that I'm communicating with daily, I typically tend to attract people who have a hard time with boundaries, because that's who I used to be. And so if you're here to work on boundaries, this is a good question to really think about, okay? So for me, I'm so much better at setting boundaries, so much better. And the reason why is because the universe gave me one of the most hardest, I don't think that's how you would say this, okay? One of the hardest situations in which I had to set a boundary. And that is one that I had to set with a very, very close family member, somebody that I've known my entire life. And that's hard to do. And if you've ever had to do it, or you're working towards it, I honor you and I celebrate you, and I'm proud of you, because it's not easy. And the fact that you're even aware that you need to set it is amazing. Amazing. Okay. But here's the thing. When you realize that when you take care of your needs first, you are better able to serve your family and friends so much easier. So much easier. I want to share a quote with you today that I heard from Gabby Bernstein. Let me look it up. Where did it go? If you meet someone's needs with more need, you are not of service to them. So if you are not setting boundaries with people that you love, how are you of service to them when you put their needs first? Because now your needs aren't even met, right? So here, ask yourself, in what ways have I been able to set more boundaries, right? And for me, it was really just fucking doing it. That's all it came down to. I had to sit down and pray about what to say and also understand that I was completely going outside of my comfort zone, and that if I set this boundary, that it was going to be a little bit challenging for a while. I was going to hurt some feelings possibly, but I knew that if I did it, this relationship would be sustainable for me, and I'd be able to keep that person in my life more often, more frequently. And so I did it. And that's the advice I'm going to give to you. It's not going to be an easy thing to do, but you do have to do it. And so just fucking do it. That's all there is to it, is just fucking do it. And reach out to me, because when you take that step, I'm here to support you. I'm here to hold your hand through it. It's not easy. So just do it. Okay, the last question, question 11. When you feel overwhelmed or unfocused or have lost your focus temporarily, what do you do? Another way to think of this question is, what questions do you ask yourself when you're feeling overwhelmed or unfocused? So think about this question. It's really a good one. So for me, something that really helps is to remind myself that overwhelm, stress, anxiety, even depression, those are all just feelings. They're not my identity. Okay. When you say things like, I am overwhelmed, I am unfocused, I am anxious, I am depressed, you attach that to your identity. And that is not who you are. Who you are is an unlimited spiritual being, and you are literally capable of shifting and moving so many things in your life. But if you attach that identity, those feelings as your identity, it's going to be much more challenging, and you're going to feel like you're hustling. So start being careful with the way you word your feelings, and instead say things like, I am feeling this way, instead of just saying I am anxious. Because no, you are not anxious. You are who you are, and you are feeling anxious, and it's okay to have feelings. So don't be afraid to say that you're feeling something. Just understand that we often sometimes attach our identity to a feeling, and we don't want to do that because it's going to hold us back, and it's going to create more of those things, right? When we think of the law of attraction, if we're constantly in this identity of a stressed out person, we're just going to attract more situations that are going to cause us stress. So the next thing I do is I remind myself that these feelings are temporary, right? And they go away, right? We've all had times where we felt really good, and we've all had times we felt really bad, right? Feelings are temporary. They come and they go and they flow. And yes, we can get to a point where the majority of our feelings most of the time are good, but we are human beings, and we are meant to go through a cycle of emotions. It's totally normal, and it is actually purposeful in our lives to help us create change, and to help us move and shift big things, okay? So those are things that I do. I also would suggest deep breathing, right? You can even you don't have to go into the crazy deep breathing for like a full hour and all that, but like maybe sit down for like 5 minutes and do some square breathing, right? In through your nose for 4 seconds, hold at the top for 4 seconds, out for 4 seconds, hold at the bottom for 4 seconds, right? You can do different things, whatever feels right for you. You could even do, I believe it's called 4-7-8. So you breathe in for 4, hold at the top for 7, breathe out for 8. And you can do that repeatedly for however long you need to, until you finally feel calm in that situation. And really just reminding yourself as you're breathing, like, these are so temporary, okay? And when you detach your identity, and when you detach your sense of like, this is forever, it is almost like you release the chains and you feel so much better. So those are the 11 questions that were asked in this book, Tribe of Mentors. Now, my goal for you and for me is to actually go and read this book and see what other people said to these questions. See if they're similar to what you answered. See if, maybe you can learn a few more pieces of wisdom. These are very successful people that Tim Ferriss interviewed, and so go check that out. Lastly, I just want to thank you so much for being here on this episode with me. If you're tuning in right now and you enjoyed this episode and you feel inspired, go ahead and leave a review for this episode. That would be so freaking amazing, because when you do that, it helps this podcast rise up the charts, and then we can together spread more light, love, and positive energy. And that's really what this whole entire podcast is about, is being able to spread that to more people and just create this collective happiness throughout. I love you so much. Thank you for tuning in. And as always, if you're ever wanting to take your manifestation and spirituality journey up a level, whether you want to maybe just reach out and ask me a question, or you want to take it all the way up to one-on-one coaching, know that I'm always here to support you. I'm going to leave all the links in the show notes. So if you're interested in how you can work with me, that information will be there. I love you all. Have a beautiful day. Mwah.